Scooters are supposed to be practical, boring machines, aren't they? Manufacturers have tried to spice it up with sporty looking scooters, but they have never really given the performance to go with it until now. The SR150 has really rewritten the scooter rulebook, and with a badge like Aprilia, expectations are naturally high. However, while the scooter might be new, the engine is not. No sir, it shares its motor with the gorgeous Vespa 150. But if these two share the same power plant, why would you pick one over the other? To be precise, the Aprilia's motor is based on the 150cc single-cylinder air-cooled motor that we first saw on the Vespa. This motor runs a 3-valve head and fueling is via a carburetor. However, Aprilia lists a discreetly higher cubic capacity in its spec sheet, which also lists the SR150's power and torque figures as being slightly lower than those of the Vespa. So imagine our surprise when the Aprilia managed to make the run to 60 kph in 7.4 seconds, while the Vespa could only manage it in 8.6. And it's the same story with roll-on acceleration as well. This improved performance is down to the fact that the Aprilia's Variomatic transmission has been tuned for aggressive acceleration. Clearly, the Aprilia is the quicker of the two, both off the line and in terms of roll-on acceleration as well. In fact, its 0 to 60 time is faster than some 125cc motorcycles as well. But when you open the gas, the acceleration doesn't feel mind-blowing for some reason. Maybe you're expecting a little bit too much from an automatic scooter. However, show it some corners and things feel very, very different. In the corners, the Aprilia is a true delight. It turns in with confidence and there's loads of grip on offer thanks to its chunky 32mm telescopic forks, larger 14-inch wheels and sticky V-rubber tires. The Vespa gets a single-sided trailing arm up front and despite the smaller wheels, offers fairly nippy handling. However, when it comes to outright handling, the SR does a much better job than even most commuter motorcycles. The Aprilia's handling comes at the expense of stiff suspension and the bike does feel pretty bumpy on bad roads. However, that firmness gives it a lot of confidence when chucking the bike around. And the brakes are pretty phenomenal as well. The 220mm front disc with twin rod calipers provides plenty of braking power and it isn't too sharp either. The Vespa on the other hand, well, that feels like it was designed more for urban duties. The ride is very plush, though the bike tips in a little too quickly for comfort. Overall though, it's a very easygoing bike and it feels a tad more practical as well. The Vespa with its classic scooter shape packs in a lot of practicality too, with larger underseat storage and a larger footboard. But storage here can be a bit restricted thanks to the tall center spine. Nevertheless, the two small cubby holes under the handlebars are a welcome addition. The Aprilia pretty much throws most practicality out the window, offering less storage options all around. And even its seat simply isn't as plush as the Vespa's. Practicality aside, when you put these two side by side, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's the Vespa that really steals your heart. Sure, the Aprilia's sporty design is quite attractive, but it feels like it was designed to appeal to boy racers. Nothing wrong with that, but it can't beat the effortless cool of the Vespa. The Vespa's classic design, which has been around for decades, and all its little details, from the instrument cluster to the switchgear, are nothing short of chic. Aprilia, on the other hand, has gone for a properly modern design that gets a lot of sporty graphics all around. That being said, some of its details are a bit plain. Eye-catching design and solid performance. These two are the most premium scooters you can buy in the country today. Now, while these two scooters might share the same engine, they have been designed for two very different sorts of riders. Yes, both of them miss out on some practicality features of modern scooters such as a remote fuel lid, a remote seat opener and even USB charging. But the SR150 is the most fun scooter you can buy in India at the moment, and at Rs 67,000 ex Delhi, it's pretty decent value as well. The Vespa, on the other hand, is all about the way it looks. However, this top spec 150 SXL model is pretty expensive at well over 90,000 rupees ex-showroom, thanks to its expensive to make steel monocoque body. If it's just looks you want, you'll probably be as happy going for the more affordable Vespa 125. But the bottom line is, thanks to the Aprilia and the Vespa, you don't necessarily have to look at a motorcycle if you want your dose of fun or cool. And if I had to pick, I'll pick fun every time.
Mid-2014, we saw the CLA 45 AMG enter the Indian market, and early 2015, we saw this version of the CLA. Well, its swooping, flowing lines definitely attracted a lot of eyeballs and attention. But now, Mercedes-Benz are ready to give it a nip and a tuck and a refresh. Let's take a look at the changes. On the outside, you have to look hard to notice the few subtle tweaks. The front bumper gets a little change around the air dam, with the design now being like a bow tie. There is also a new chrome insert at the chin. The headlamps are also full LEDs, and the tail lamps too get a refreshed look with LED as well. On the inside, you see a new trim across the dash. Now it's got this new metallic stippled finish on the dashboard. And the 7-inch screen gives way to a larger 8-inch screen, which is also compatible with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. The powertrain is the same as before, with 184 HP and 300 Nm of torque. Nothing in the mechanicals has changed, and it still remains an engine that's quick off the line and accelerates strongly. Dynamically, it's not the car you would pick to drive around a series of bends as an enthusiast, but it still handles well enough, and you always feel confident behind the wheel. The CLA has always been more about the way it looks, and the refresh just makes it better.
Coming up ahead, all the action from the Toyota Fortuner Off-Road Experiential Drive Camp. And the big winners from the 2016 Women's World Car of the Year.